Okay, today we'll see what the topic of the day is from Wisdom of the House of Night, Queen of the Moon Oracle, and Sixth Sense Oracle cards. Let's see what the topic of the day is. What is the universe going to hand me to talk about today? Okay, journey. I think when I'm done with this, I'm going to have to get that fan out and hook it up. Full moon power. So we just had that lunar eclipse. Poor Mr. Max, he's just sitting over panting like crazy. Say hot, mama. Yeah, I think I'm going to, I think I'll get one of those potty pads and wet it so he can lay on it and be next to the fan, and that cools him off. Mama gonna fix it in a minute. He said, yeah, you should try it with a fur coat on. Last but not least, obedience. Okay. Obedience. And I like that one. The obedience, it's interestingly also she's holding, and you can barely see it, the scales. Okay, the scales. Okay, so the journey will once again talk about spiritual path. You know, you have those, let me turn this, that thing is just, it's hot enough that really does help. It's not helping in this case, but it heats it up in here, so I'm going to turn that off. But part of the journey is, if you're going to get to the power, to the, clarification, part of the path is obedience. Okay, surrender, obedience. Now, people don't like that. I want to pick and choose. And if it's something that I don't like, I'm going to come back at you. I'm going to, but the path is about some obedience. There is one guru that was in India. He's passed now. But his whole teaching method was never giving satsang, never giving any talks. It was obedience. He would have them do things like, just outrageous stuff. Okay? And it all had to do with surrender, obedience, surrender, letting go of the ego. It's a way to wear down the ego. Okay? People don't like it. Sometimes they think it's not justice to have that. But if you want to get to realization, you've got to break down the ego. And the ones that want to come back, if you say something, they want to snap back at you. There is no ego wearing away there whatsoever. Okay. So yeah, that's a part of the path that's difficult. You know, when I was in the esoteric Christian order, they made me the chief carpenter and locksmith. That was my job. Carpentry and locksmith. They give you things that are, you know, you've never done before. Okay? But you have to surrender, and you have to have trust, and you have to be open to receiving that. And it's amazing, you know, if you could surrender to that, then these doors begin to open. If you want to argue with your spiritual teacher, then you're not in any way in a path of surrender. Okay? You're fooling yourself. Okay? You may have a different opinion, but what it takes is for you. You know, the path is not about arguing. Okay? So again, a lot of the path, the journey, if you're going to get empowered, it takes obedience. People don't like that term, obedience. Obedience, my foot. Okay? Like I said, the very best thing my teacher ever did for me was, you know, saying, if you believe this, you're already enlightened, and the next second turn around, you fool, you idiot, you know nothing, and I mean screaming full force, and he was a tantric, okay? And when a tantric does full force at you, literally, I was, for 3 days, I literally could not speak. I tried to speak at me, nothing would come out for a full 3 days. And it threw it back, threw back on myself. And you go into, at that point, then you start observation and questioning. Neti, not this, not this, not this. Okay. So sometimes the hardest thing that a teacher says or does, okay, it's an aid to break through ego. Okay. So if you want to get somewhere, it takes surrender. Okay. Do you think that Christ had an easy time, you know, surrendering to being nailed on a cross, crucified? It was not easy for him. You think it was easy that he went in there and, oh yeah. He was sweating blood. That's being terrified. He was sweating blood. Okay? But he surrendered to what his path was. He surrendered to it. Okay? So it takes that horrid word, obedience. Okay? It's like, you may not always know, you think you know. Okay? But it takes obedience to break through and then come to a place where you are, you know, able to see, to cognize in clarity. But if you are going to hold, you know, to your, I'm just going to, you don't know, this is, I have a right to my opinion and I'm just going to, you know, full on with that. Okay? Your ego's going nowhere. Okay? Okay? Your ego is secure. And it's going to remain secure for a very long time, running you in a circle on a hamster wheel. Okay? On a hamster wheel. Okay? And surrender has to come from the seeker side. Okay? The Guru can't force you into surrender. But if you're not willing to surrender, then, why are you even there? Okay? Might be looked at, don't kid yourself. Okay? So yeah, this is a tough one. This is a journey, and those of us that have been on a spiritual path for a very long time know that, again, power, and people want to be in their own power of ego. Okay, they think that's power, empowering. But the best power is when you no longer have to be power, and you surrender obedience. Okay. Part of the if you are in a monastery, or if you are a nun and you are in a cloister, there is no argument in the rules. Okay. If the Mother Superior tells you you need to kiss, and that there have been those ones where they were doing something and they made them kiss the feet of the other nuns and beg their indulgence. Why is that? Is it to be mean? No, it's to break through ego. To break through ego. So anyway, I'm going to leave this here. Ego identification is not an easy thing to break through. Okay? But if you want liberation, then there is no liberation. Ego does not get liberated. There is no ego that is liberated. Liberation comes when you die. You go through that death. And when you go through that death and you're on the other side, there is no you. You don't exist. You have never existed. The only thing that exists truly is God essence, this divine is. And you don't come out of it like some of these people and say, well, I'm divine. I am God. I am God. No. Okay. They go back into this separation. Okay. And that's not liberation. That's another segment of the game that a number of them play. They have a glimpse and they come back and they, want to layer this other thing on it. But ego never gets liberated. Never gets liberated. Okay? So I'm going to leave this here. Hopefully it has helped someone out there. There are those that may want to kick against the goads. Don't goad me. Don't tell me. I don't want to hear it. Well, then you're going to stub your toe. And it's painful. Either way, it's painful. But yeah. So, again, if you're going to do the spiritual path, you want to get real power versus the fake power. It takes obedience and surrender. Okay? And nobody is asking, no spiritual teacher, well, if they're a genuine spiritual teacher, asks you to surrender, to them, that you're going to come here and you're going to, Mm-mm. It's about surrendering one's hard-headedness, wanting to lash back. Okay. Now this other one that I was telling you about, if they talk back one time, they're done. My guru as well. If anyone, I'm telling you, if they want to be in for him to watch them, they show up 15 minutes early. They don't speak unless they are spoken to. One time, you're going to talk back and disrespect, you're gone. You're done. You've lost your opportunity in this lifetime. So again, people have a mistaken notion. They think if you say something that's hard to hear, that you are abusing them. Okay. They have a very wrong perception of what it is. Okay. To hear something you don't like is not abuse. If you're over here and you're getting beaten, that's abuse. Okay? But again, the path is not easy. It's not easy to break through egos. It's not fun. It's not something that, delights any spiritual teacher. But it's a necessary part of the path to challenge, to break through their identifications. Okay. So I'm going to leave this here. Much love and light. I hope somebody's gotten something out of this. I'm sure there are many that would like to kick and scream about it. It is what it is. Okay? And no spiritual teacher needs to accept a student. Okay? There's one more that I'm going to tell you about that just came in. And this is in the Buddhist realm, and people think you're Buddhist and everything. Oh, you have to, be so sweet all the time. Honeyed words. Buddha was never hard on anybody. It's not no. Yeah. There was one. He had done black magic before. And then all of a sudden he wanted to come on the Buddhist path. And the guy's looking at him, the teacher's looking at him and like, oh, you really want it? Yeah, I really want it. Well, then you're going to have to prove it. He had him build a house out of stone by himself. He built the house. He got through, he looks at it and said, I don't want it there. I want it moved over here. You want the path? You're going to have to work for it. Made him move the whole house stone by stone until he built the second one. Then he finally let him on the path. So again, it's not always easy. It's not always, that you're going to get candy and you're going to have it your way and you're going to demand and you're going to... talk back, unwilling to have the obedience needed to break through ego, then you might find the door is given the exit sign and say, there's the exit. Try again in another lifetime when you're ready. Okay. There's a book out that's called The Dangerous Friend. It's about Buddhist and Buddhist paths, but it equally, when people come on the path, I tell them you should read The Dangerous Friend. We're not here, this teacher is not here to entertain you. I'm not here to be your buddy. Okay. We're here to give you a way forward, to break through your conditioned ideas, to break through the conditioned responses, okay, to get you to realization, to confronting yourself, not confronting others, okay? So, I think this is the end of it. Yep, quiet, nothing else. Namaste, much love and light to everyone. If you are a new person here, if you like these daily talks or the tarot readings, you can always do that little thing called subscribe and hit the little bell next to it if you want to be alerted when a new video comes up. Okay, so thank you, love and light to everyone.